All right, we've got a 5D problem here. We're going to try and solve this. I'm going to break it down step by step. Let's start with what we know. We know that Ross gained 3 times as many yards as Chandler. So we know that Ross gained 3 times as many as Chandler. So we're going to say R for Ross and C for Chandler. Then the next sentence says Joey gained 10 yards more than Ross. So we know that Joey gained 10 yards more than Ross. Well, we can say 10 plus R, but we know that Ross equals 3 times Chandler. So I'm going to also rewrite this way. Joey earned or ran 10 yards more than 10 plus 3 times Chandler. Okay, so I'm going to use these two equations to help me solve this problem. What else do we know? We know that Chandler plus Ross plus Joey equaled 430 yards. So I'm going to set up my table, and we always start with who we know the least about. I know a little bit about Ross, right? Look at that red star. I know a little bit about Joey. Look at that red star. I know the least about Chandler. So I'm going to start my table with Chandler in the far left side. That's where I'm going to start my guessing. So let's set this up. Chandler. Then I know something about Ross. Let's do Ross next. And then finally, Joey. Then I know that Chandler plus Ross plus Joey has got to equal 430. Okay. So if I wanted to label these sections, this is my define, right? I'm defining my variables. I'm doing the math here, and then I'm going to decide. Okay, so I've got my table almost set up. Let's put some rows in here, though. Hopefully that's enough. Oh, so my first guess with Chandler, let's just start guessing. Well, what if Chandler ran 100 yards? If Chandler ran 100 yards, that means Ross did 3 times 100. 3 times Chandler, that's 300. And Joey did 10 plus 3 times 100. Okay, and that's going to be 310. So if I add those together, the do, Chandler, 100, plus Ross, 300, plus Joey, 310, that's going to equal 710 yards. That's too high. So my next guess has got to be lower. 100 was too much by quite a bit, so let's just cut it in half. How about 50? What if Chandler ran 50 yards? That means Ross did 3 times Chandler, 3 times 50. That's 150 yards. Joey did 10 plus 3 times Chandler, which is 50. So that's 150 plus 10, that's 160 yards. Add them all together. If we do the math, that's 50 plus 150 for Ross plus 160 for Joey. That's going to equal 360. Oh, now we're a little too low. 360 too low. Okay, let me get a little more paper here. Let's look at our next guess. So if 100 is too high and 50 is too low, what if I start creeping upwards? Let's just go with 60. Okay, if Chandler ran 60 yards, Ross did 3 times Chandler. 3 times 60 is 180. Joey is 10 plus 3 times 60. That's going to equal 190. Add them all together. 60 plus 180 plus 190 equals 430. Perfect. So we are set. We have all the answers. We know that Chandler ran 60 yards. We know that Ross ran 180 yards. And Joey ran 190 yards. But the question said, how many yards did Ross gain? So we know Ross gained 180 yards. Okay? And that's how we solve the problem using the 5D process.